choke up and I'm loaded up for niggas in my way. I'm feeling alright, even though that it's been a long night. Can't drive, yeah, I took a wrong ride. I was pouring light, taking the meantime. All night, all the way to the sunshine. He ain't about yours, baby, I'm about mine. She broke my heart in the meantime. Pop one more perk, I'll be fine. Running up a check in the meantime. Running up a check in the meantime. Perkins said I pop, yeah, it's being time. Pouring high tech, yeah, it's lean time. She broke my heart, I'll be fine. She broke my heart, I'll be fine. I'm just running up a check in the meantime. Running up a check in the meantime. In the meantime, relations, fuck on my face, baby, give me that face so I can have a good day. How it's all love when it ain't no love. Wonder why I take drugs, cause I'm sick of they hate. Now I gotta smoke some, pop some, sip some, just so I can feel okay. Every time I show up, choke up, and I'm loaded up for niggas in my way. Running up a check in the meantime. I lost my mind, know I'll be fine. Someday, I know I'll be fine. One day, can't save a whole no. Sunday, 3K for the rest, feel like Andre. Still in the streets, serving like Andre. We can set it on fire like flambe. We can set it on fire like flambe. Went to LA, went to LA. Bad little bitch, get out my face. Just won't leave me alone. No, she just won't leave me alone. Everywhere I go, I see her face. And I ain't even back home. And I ain't coming back home. I done had enough for the sorrow. I don't want relations, fuck on my face, baby, give me that face so I can have a good day. How it's all love when it ain't no love. Wonder why I take drugs, cause I'm sick of they hate. Now I gotta smoke some, pop some, sip some, just so I can feel okay. Every time I show up, choke up, and I'm loaded up for niggas in my way. In the party, my heart hurts. I was Jenny and I mix it with 2 perks. She told me that I look like a zombie. I guess that's better than loser. I just went and bought her a new purse just for her to leave them in my heart. Can somebody please tell me I love her? But hold on, wait, let me get drunk first. Here we go. I know this ain't finna take control. I'm sorry, but I let it get you go. I just had to let you know. You doing cocaine, let us know. You doing cocaine, let us know. While you had it on the snow, you know I'm doing Zanies on the low. I'm getting in your panties on the low. I just thought I'd let you know. I don't want relations, fuck on my face, baby, give me that face so I can have a good day. How it's all love when it ain't no love. Wonder why I take drugs, cause I'm sick of they hate. Now I gotta smoke some, pop some, sip some, just so I can feel okay. Every time I show up, choke up, and I'm loaded up for niggas in my way. I've been stuck in my ways for a couple of days, and it feels so amazing. I lost it, I'm crazy, I'm fucked up, I'm faded, I'm feeling today. My life left me, gotta go hard, and with a few perkins, let me go hard. All the money looking sexy, man, I did hard. She don't even wanna take me, gotta go hard. I don't wanna know what you did with him, baby, you with me now. I don't wanna know what you saw with him, see what you can see now. I don't wanna know. I told you I don't wanna know, cause you're with me now. Cause you're with me now. I don't want relations, fuck on my face, baby, give me that face so I can have a good day. How it's all love when it ain't no love. Wonder why I take drugs, cause I'm sick of they hate. What's up, guys? What's up? Pop some, sip some, just so I can feel okay. I just wanted to chart a little bit. Where we at? My way. Let's turn down that a little bit. Alright, guys, what's up? We're back. We're here. Rico Capital. What I wanted to go over, appreciate y'all joining. Good, a little bit of y'all joining up right here on Saturday night. Appreciate y'all joining up.
A couple Twitch people. All right. Shout out to the X people, you know. All right. So what I want to kind of, you like the green in the background. I like that. Bringing out the money. The money. That's what we like. Green over here. Rigo Capital. We like green. All right, so I want to go over a few things. Actually, I want to go over some of my trades from Friday. I want to go over. I want to go over also like how I was so on point with this week. Also, I want to go over with, man. Yeah, there's some. We had some pretty good trades this week, even in the uncertainties. Like Tuesday, I called it like early in the week. Even Tuesday, I was kind of telling y'all, you know, some of these days are positioning days, so do less. Friday, I felt like was a positioning day, but I was ready to size up when Spine Q broke out. So let's kind of go over that. So if you're a struggling trader, if you're a trader, or maybe this week, you just I don't know, you're having probably trouble with maybe direction and things like that, or maybe just kind of understanding the bigger move. Let's break it down a little bit, right? Let's get on Spy because Spy was the easier than QEQ. I was really attacking Spy all early in the week, throughout the week, and it wasn't until Friday when I attacked QEQ more. But of course, I did both. Anyways, you as a trader, you need to understand, right? If you're gonna be and look, some of these setups were kind of far and few in between. Spy and QQ were there all week. So if you're going to be trading SPY and QQ, you need to understand which one is stronger and which one is weaker, right? We saw Nvidia, we saw AMD knife early in the week. We saw QQ red that day, and SPY was holding on, even going green that day. So we saw that there was a little bit of weakness and a little bit of strength where you could easily differentiate, which one to go with, right? That's number one. Number two is just getting your setups right, right? So we're gonna be looking at Friday here where we broke out. Thursday we didn't do shit, and then Wednesday with the again breakout. Now this is another thing you got to understand what's happening throughout the week, economical news and stuff like that, right? The big thing this week was Tesla and Google earnings. That was Wednesday. Right, we saw that Tuesday really didn't do shit, but we saw Wednesday, mid morning not do anything, and then the lead up into earnings that close, you can see market picked up pretty well. So, with that being said, you got to understand that, and this is not something you're just like, oh, that was a one off thing. No, this is something you need to understand, engrave it in your brain, because this continuously happens. The market will overlook other things and look mainly solely be, looking at the bigger picture here. And so, after hours, we did see, a good run up kind of into close there into the earnings, even though, right, we saw Google, go red, then push right back up, then kind of sell off Thursday and really not do anything. And then we saw Tesla actually, right, sell off from that earnings, and then it bounced up Friday. So, I mean, again, it really is kind of just finishing off near the weekly. It didn't really do much. So the market wanted to get that out the way to understand that and say, okay, well, it shrugged it off. We did get a little bit of consolidation on that Thursday, and then, we kept it pushing. And so that was the kind of key there. So, anyways, let's kind of look at it here, right? Let's look at it. SPY here, that 630, 615 level up here was, this was pretty much, we're just making all-time highs, right? And so we hit that all-time high here that Thursday, right? We didn't really do too much on that Thursday. You can see that, we did open up in range. We held that 634 level. Now, the really cool thing about this was just knowing that they're keeping this in range like this just meant that we're going to go higher. So that's why it made Friday's setup a little bit easier. But looking at Wednesday, Wednesday was honestly really, really good for us. Every day was really good for us, but I want to go ahead and highlight Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we'll go back to Monday, Tuesday. I know it's a little backwards, but it's all good. We caught SPY's absolute low here. I did this live. I slammed calls literally right here, and I went like 3 days out. And I told the team like just do less. Not much is even happening. Market is very slow right now. SPY's the stronger name. We saw QQ that Wednesday. Have a lot of indecision where it knifed into this demand, and it was kind of near weekly lows. We're still inside this flag. SPY was more breaking out than QQ, so I was still waiting for Q to get that downtrend breakout. Now, the bot, my Regal Cap Trend bot, ended up catching QQ, so I was playing SPY all this day. I didn't take QQ even though I knew it broke out end of day there, but we were already knee deep in SPY calls at the morning open. When we got that knife down, I was like, wait for it, boom. We slammed SPY calls like 3 days out. It was like end of the week. And we just did less. And notice how we got a lot of chop, right? It didn't really affect our contracts because we were already up on the contracts. We literally got the low. It pushed right up, and all this action, we were already up like $20, $30 a contract. From there, right there, we got that huge pop right there. Could have been news, could have been whatever you want to call it. I don't care because for that move to happen right there, it was expected. You know why it was expected? Because it was very low volume. Here's another rule, guys. Write this down. I need you to know this as a trader, especially in these market conditions. Market cannot sell off of low volume. Market can melt up off of low volume, right? So I saw that we are already in these calls and we're just doing this in a little number. I was like, awesome, that's awesome because it's not ripping up our contracts. We're up on the contracts, but the low volume melt is coming and we got that push. The moment we got that pushed into new all-time highs here, because this was new all-time highs, I was like, okay, let me see. We sold most of our contracts right there, held runners. Now we're looking for the roll up, and that's exactly what I did on the roll up. Waited till we got that dip right there, ended up slamming because now you can see right here that buyers are defending, which once was resistance, right? And if we back it up, we slapped that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you can see Monday, what that was all-time high supply. We needed to get above this. The buyers ripped us above right there. It wasn't just a random move. That was them breaking out there. We rolled up on some more calls right here, which was 3 days out again. And we just rolled up on the strike, and man, those ran again. I gave this play right out for free on the main Twitter right here. But Real Cap team was already in 2 sets of SPY calls, and we got that run up all the way into close. I mean, those went from what, $80 all the way to 140, 50 before close. And then we swung them, of course, knowing that we should be cashing this out Friday, and then we'll look to keep the slate clean going into Monday, and then get ready to do what we gotta do. Now this right here was interesting, right? I did see a lot of like kind of a little choppiness, right? We're indecision. Now this was pretty cool because that's where I can kind of turn around and look for other opportunities kind of in the market, right? I can slam the lows, on QQ, knowing we're ripping right back up and make a play off that, right? Again, wasn't really pushing it too much on that day, but really still, good wins, knowing that Friday is likely going to be the bigger move if it does come, right? And that's exactly what we saw too. Let me go see real quick. That was all right. Here we go. Yeah. So again, very easy catching this. I think we pressed more as a day trade. We pressed on more SPY calls, knowing that we're gonna break out here because I already saw this forming. And I don't expect some of y'all to catch this, but as this starts to form out, I could already tell that as long as we didn't break some of these lows down here, which I knew, like if we didn't and we start holding and ranging, I knew at that point that this is just bull flagging, which it clearly is, and you can still see my flag there because I know that this is just a setup going into tomorrow. So if you want to improve as a trader, you got to understand that some days like this is just the setup into the move going into the next day. Now, you got to then ask yourself that question. Am I going to risk, possibly this setting up and not breaking out, right? Getting in a position right now, risk no confirmation just yet. Or I can recognize the situation, maybe add a little bit, but know that I'm fully entering tomorrow. Like this move is tomorrow. Regardless if we broke down, if we did this or up or down, right? Say we broke this flag right here and came down, I would have been fully down to play some puts. And if we look at the volume profile, let's see what the volume profile even tells us. And you can see this is low volume right here, right? Of course, right at our level, that blue level, there's some buyers, so we know that that level is valid. But we know that if we end up losing this, we would have made a little bit of money on some puts on the way down. That's yeah, we would have done that. But we're again near all-time highs. I'm not going to be looking to be playing puts like that. I'll take my 10, 20, 30, 40% on some puts, knowing that at any moment we can hold and rip right into new all-time highs. So you want to be not touching puts like that, but all good. Just saying if that did happen, right? Didn't happen. And my thought process going into the Monday or Friday was super easy, right? I saw SPY pre-market, low volume. Okay, same thing for QQ, low volume, but it did falsely break down here, and you can see that right before open, it was a little bit weaker. We did see Nvidia, kind of knife a little bit, slap to all-time highs, and then come back down. Um, yeah, I mean, and we saw Tesla rip up. Again, I don't know really where that QQ weakness was really coming from. Probably we can look around. I don't know if I've looked around. Meta maybe on Friday there, a little bit of weakness there into close. That could be it. Oh, turn that back on. Turn that bad boy back on. There we go. All right. Maybe it was that. Maybe Microsoft. No, Microsoft ripped. Okay. Really not sure where the Q was coming from in the morning, so I decided to sit back. I was like, oh, let me sit back. Let me not, jump the gun too much on SPY Q. Let's see if it breaks out so I can alert the team, and we can bank off this. So I was like, let me sit back. Once we saw kind of like this knife down here and then come right back up on the 15 and then it hold, and once it started pushing the range, that's when I was like, okay. I actually ended up slamming QQ calls first. It was right here on this break. This right here, I went next week expirations. This was just a pure hero call right here, knowing that like in my head I ran the numbers. It was a higher percentage of us breaking out here than us breaking down. And the reason why I was looking around the market, right? And AMD rocketing out right there. We saw Apple recover and push up too as well. We saw well, maybe Amazon was what was bringing Q at open down. We saw Tesla ripping. Google pushed out there. Tesla was ripping. We saw Palantir rip out there. We saw Microsoft. That was probably the big one where it started ripping, started going up. I was like, okay, likely this will push up because we're not just going to push up to all-time highs again right here as this flag kind of starts going. And not break it. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk here. This was the all-time high. It's a small supply, meaning small sellers are there. So let's kind of see what happens. And on the 15, it was playing around. Look how it was just messing on that flag, just rejecting. I didn't like the wicks up here, but also I was loving the wicks down here. That was what telling me, all right, we should be all right in this trade. Those big wicks right there were telling me buyers are here and we're at all-time highs. They're defending it. Let's just see what happens, of course. So then once we get on the hourly, and this is what I was trying to tell the team as well, we're playing the hourly today. Most days we're playing the 15, but today we're playing the hourly. And when I say that, it means the move is gonna take a little bit longer. We're playing the hourly candle. And so if it's an hourly candle, it's gonna take an hour to play out, right? And so you can see the real move happened and on this hourly candle right here. You can see that we did open up outside, right? That hourly pushed us out, and right here, we opened up outside the flag above all-time highs. Notice how we got the dip. That's where you want to be buying on this hourly open. So right at 11:30 Eastern time, it opened up. The dip came down. Like obviously the dip came down first. It came down. This is where you need to be slamming, knowing that this is gonna push right back out. And that's exactly what happened. So we look on the 15. Let's look at where those candles were. And you would see them right here, right? You want to be entering on that red candle that it opened up finally on the 15 above. Once it did that, we were already well positioned in these calls. We already up on the calls because we slammed them down here, and then we got that rocket up. Now, this is where I actually slammed more SPY calls. And the crazy thing was in this area right here, I took the SPY trade because we opened up outside the flag, we broke through it, start consolidating outside of it on the hourly. Look at the hourly, we opened up outside of it. That was the main thing that I slammed right there. Same thing, opened up outside of it. Look how we wicked down. The retest of the flag, I'm buying that all damn day. Give me that take all my money. I'm slamming that right there with calls, knowing that this probably took 15 minutes just to dip down, and then the next 30 minutes got the rocket up. And then of course these are all hourly candles, so I mean in the next 2 hours run up. I bought the six. Let me see. I posted the screenshot. Where are we at? Where are we at? Let me see. Let me see. They're next week calls. I know that. The strike was 638. Okay, this was the crazy part. I slammed them right down here, and this is the whole point. When this it was weird, but when I took these as well, the Qs were holding up fine, but SPY's calls were not. When I took them right here, which I ended up taking them right here, I took them right here on that red candle, and it bounced around. I was up, and then I was back down a little bit. And then the weird thing is these were decreasing fast, even though we weren't going anywhere. I got filled at like 117. They ran to like 120s, and then we went down to like 99, $100. And so most people be like, oh shit, I'm down 20%. Oh my God, what do I do? Holy shit, this is a bad trade. To me, I was like, I cannot believe how cheap this is, and I can't believe these are not increasing in value for the move that's about to happen. I got them, I got 638s. These are damn near at the money in like 4 days out. And got them for like $100. I was like, holy shit, that is a steal, a bargain. I know a bargain when I see one. And of course, once we got the move here, those contracts, which I knew they would, ran to like 200 plus or whatever. It was 170, 180, 200. So again, I knew they would, and that was such a deal. But again, we're playing the hourly, so I knew the move that was coming, and I was trying to tell the team too, stay patient. We're just playing this. We all banked. It was fun. What you need to be understanding, guys, is some of these patterns, right? This is just the bull flag. If we're in a bull market, you need to understand the bull flag. You need to understand the bull flag. You need to understand some of these very bullish patterns, because that's what's going to help you understand better. That's what's going to help you, recognize some of these patterns and then not trip when you're maybe down 10%, 20%. 30%. I've been down 40% on a position knowing what's about to come next, and then it's up over 200%. It's not even about the money or any of that. It's about the trade. Focus on the trade. And I promise you, like, you're gonna bank. I could have been freaking out down here. I could have stopped down and be like, oh, I hit 20%. Oh no. Knowing that I'm missing out on 100%, nah. I mean, I know a deal when I see one. Those contracts were super cheap for being 4 days out and at the money, 5 days out at the money. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy. Also, my next target up was like 638, 637. So I knew those would go at the money if we got the move or I was looking for. And if not, I was fully ready to see this go into next week. I was fully prepared for that. So, yeah, moral of what I'm trying to tell you is understand some of these patterns. You can see on the hourly here, no matter how many 15 candles, the hourly right there at open, we were still inside the flag. We've got the break. Yes, you can play the break on the hourly when it ended up breaking around there. But I would suggest getting the confirmation, because nothing beats the confirmation right there, because you don't have to wait too long. Like, it's the shortest possible amount of time, right? If we highlight that and then go look at on the 15 when you would have entered that red candle. So really, you could have entered that red candle or even that green one on the retest when it opened up, knowing that that's probably low, and for the rest of the day that was the low. And then you get that move out, and you really could have just sold right, there, and got that move from 635-ish all the way up to 637. and capitalized off that. I wouldn't have done lottos, but something that really would have made it worth it too, which would have been, 1 day, 2 day expiration, whatever. But you got to understand that there is retests, right? We broke out, we ended up retesting and then pushed up. So you got to understand some of these patterns. So if you're a trader trying to get better, best thing you can do is get better at pattern recognition. Now, yes. See, the thing is, what makes me really good at some of these patterns too is my zones. Like knowing where the sellers and buyers are at, and then I can easily put a zone on it, or knowing where the buyers and sellers are at with the zones, and I can easily put a pattern to it. It's just so simple, right? Super simple, right? So if we let's go look at Hood as a prime example of that from Friday. I can't believe I missed Hood on Friday. Hood earnings Wednesday. Huge downtrend breakout here out of the demand here, knowing buyers are here, the 101, 100 demand. You can see it was defending it all week. All week it was defending it, and it finally, bursted out Friday, and you can see how clean that is. Look at how we opened up, right? We opened up right at it. We pushed out. You could have been like, perfect. I'm going to enter on this 15, knowing that we are opening up on the 15 above this demand. So demand held, buyers defended. You can see that, and then you would have entered on the 15. I would hope you would have entered down here as the 15 opened up, because any dip you're taking that, and then you would have got the push up. You'd have been like, I'm a genius, especially if you're playing lottos on Lotto Friday for Hood. You slammed after the 101.80 range, and it's now at 103. And then you're like, nah, I need to zone. I need at least up to this zone. So then this opened up. You see it dipped a little bit. You're like, I'm still up, but and then it pushed right back up. You're like, I'm a genius. Then the next 15 opened up, and of course, no dip, just ripped straight through into your target, and that's where you would be selling. From buying it at 101.80s all the way up to 105. Easy work. And then from there, you can literally see that we opened up above this 15. We got that dip. You could have rolled up some calls, knowing that we pushed out there, then fought through some of this traffic, knowing we are consolidating upside this demand, meaning buyers have defended it, and they are defending it. And then you can see we got that run all the way up to the next supply, target hit, sell, and then you can see we tagged that, trickled all the way back down for the rest of the day, hit that demand. Notice what time we hit this, right? Lunchtime. Shocker. So any of y'all that are Rico Cap members or Rico Cap supporters, regardless if you're watching this, just know that the market works in three different kind of operational sessions, right? The morning session, the lunch session, and then the close. Again, avoid the lunchtime. Nothing really happens. You want to play the open. I play the open, king of the open. I've coined this. I'm the man. People are scared to play the open. That's where the most action is at. And then the close is just a continuation of what the next open's gonna be, right? We see a downtrend breakout here for Hood here, and now you can see, back to circle all the way back to my point. My point is, now I have these zones. I know that, where buyers and sellers are sitting. So all I have to do now is just draw the trend line, right? Trend line right there. I don't need to draw the bottom, but I can right there. The bottom doesn't really matter if I'm bullish, because I'm looking for the upside. So I just need to worry about this top part. If this ends up tomorrow or Monday, I'm sorry, it does this and then it breaks out, holds above, then it's running back to this. But not only is it running back to this, I would expect this to run back to this zone right here, which will complete the full downtrend breakout, as you can see. Again, this is a pattern you need to know, downtrend breakout. So it's the patterns. It's just patterns over and over again. The market can't come up with new patterns, right? How many times have we seen that? And even if it does, then don't even worry about it, because that's not the pattern you're playing. You want to pick a pattern, pick a chart, or pick a setup that you really like, and don't play anything else. It's so easy. Like this, I would definitely slam this all day, every day. Slam. This is better. This is great. Like, look at that. Flagging on a downtrend breakout, it's gonna magnet straight up. Let's look at the volume profile. Volume profile, we're right at some big heavy buyers where we're sitting. Thin air, yes, blue line, so maybe we'll keep an eye on maybe around this area where there's some clusters, but ultimately looks like we should run to our target right there. And I like this. This is a good setup. So this is something I'm eyeing going into Monday, next week. And we know that because Hood earnings, so definitely you need to be keeping an eye on that. I've been thinking about this setup because I saw this Friday at close. Pissed I didn't catch it. But notice how, remember I was telling you guys, when a stock breaks 100 for the first time, closes above 100 for the first time, right over here did it. Over 100 for the first time, it runs to 120 very fast. Notice how 1, 2, in less than 48 hours, Hood not only closed above 100, the 100 level, but ended up breaking all the way to 113. So very close, $7 away from that 120 level. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because not only did it hold the 100 retest here, I think with earnings coming Wednesday, it's likely, even with this bull flag here, that they're going to run it right back up to this 110, 111, and then earnings comes out and it rips another $10 to 120. It's the signs are there. The signs are there. Sometimes in trading, you can look around and be like, the stars are lining up. Like I can see this happening. So the few people that can kind of connect the dots before that kind of plays out are the people that make a lot of money. So there's a few amount of people that can do the math, and then there's a few amount of people that can really explain it or connect it, and then there's a fewer amount of people that can do both, and those are the people that make a lot of money or lead the pack, or are an outlier of showing kind of how people do this shit for real. So yeah. So take that for what it is. Moving on. AMD, no one's talking about AMD right now. Nobody. From last week, we're absolutely nailing it. It knifes with NVIDIA. Chips are weak on, what was that, Monday? We came out on Monday, Tuesday, right, Tuesday. Knifed here. Went close to the gap, almost ate some of the gap, got so close to that gap there. Knife to it, literally went on, I would say, a generational move straight after that $17 move up from the lows. In the next 1, 2, 3 days, it went $17. Absolutely incredible there, but it looked like the reload. Boom, reload. It hit my weekly target at here, which was the 167, 166. My next weekly target next week will be 170 plus, 170, 69. Non-stop ripper right now on AMD. I almost tried playing it on Friday where I almost caught, I didn't have this zone here, but I didn't realize this was a demand. I almost slammed calls down there for that move up, would have been insane. 162 area all the way back up to 167 on some lottos. Golly, those calls would have banked. I like this. I didn't have this zone here. It was this zone, this zone, and then between was just blue levels. Yeah, I was wondering why I kind of reversed there and kind of pushed up. Regardless, also because I was on the other Webull chart and it erased everything, so I've had to rechart AMD from scratch, which is devastating. So like you can do so much to me, but erase my charts. Oh my god, take that to heart. I'm going John Wick if you delete any of my charts on my watch list. I'm telling you, it's like the worst thing you can do. Have you thought about combining, copying, No, no. I'm not even gonna read that out, Dan, because no, no. Pelosi, yeah, you wonder why we don't hear about Pelosi's trades anymore? You know why? Is because she's pretty much, because when Donald Trump got into office, she's not getting any of that insider information anymore, and now she's, not making legendary moves. So I don't, no, I don't copy, no, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. Yeah, this is another big watch going into next week. AMD, right? And so is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, this was weird. This popped to new all-time highs. We got intraday new all-time highs, but did not close all-time highs. So I don't like that. It was a downtrend breakout, um, and then went to new all-time highs, but it just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. But it is kind of flagging here. So if I just take away this and we can look at this, it is flagging. I do like it, but I would need to see aggressiveness like AMD. I like aggressiveness, so if I just go AMD, that's all right with me. But we'll see. A lot of buyers down here. You can see all the wicks. A lot of buyers here. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not pushing it like that. I like SPY right now. I like QQ. That's fine. Um, we'll see about that. Amazon ended up breaking out Friday or Thursday. I saw it huge. Finally breaking out of these two zones right here. Man, broke out. I missed this trade. Knifed right back down. I was like, yeah, there you go. Came right back up. Ended up breaking out. Bezos still selling. Somehow it ended up breaking out here. Finally broke that 225 curse. That was taking forever. I don't know. I like Amazon, but if I had to trade it, I can make money on it. But if I I'm not running to it right now. I'm not. This looks like a zone here, even though it's two blue lines. So, whatever. Tesla massive on Friday. Tesla Fridays. I'm pissed. I missed that. Tesla Fridays. Slam any calls on Tesla on Friday from market open all the way to 11:30 Eastern. You would have made money. I would say 11:15 because if you slammed 11:30 Eastern, you would have lost money. But beautiful. Look at that. All green candles except that one. Ignore that one. And then all red candles except those. Ignore that. Beautiful. I mean, look how we came back to the zone. Notice how we wicked. I think I would have ended up taking the trade here. This would have been my trade right there. You can see we opened up above the zone, came down for that retest. I would have slammed calls and wasted no time getting the full move of what I was looking for right there, right? You can be like, oh, I could have slammed it at open, but a little bit of kind of choppy. It's still pushed up, don't get me wrong. But from 309 to kind of 314, yes, you would have made money. But from the smooth, buttery, silky move from 315 all the way to 323, you can't beat that. I mean, no shaking in the boots. You would have got that next 15-minute candle rip up. You would have been up on some lottos and you'd have been like, all right, yeah. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Sell, yeah. Turn to the move, blah, blah, blah. So again, I don't know. We'll see. Ran to the 321. That's a big level. It's been doing all that. This was my weekly target and ended up hitting it. Earnings ended up slapping it down. Notice how that right there, it wigged down right there, same place where it ended up running. Same around here, dealing with it, rejected there. So that 321 is a big kind of zone that it's been dealing with. I don't know. Tesla, let's look around. Apple, this is the move that they're everyone and all the big accounts over last weekend were talking about. Apple was squeezing here, big move, and yeah, Monday it broke out, ended up running to 320 or 213 and then 215 area. I gave it to 215 with a max kind of move up to 218, 217. Looks like it's still loading on its way up, but hit that first target straight Monday morning. Again, this is just one of these things where if you were prepared Sunday night and you came out Monday morning with this on your mind, with this open, with this opened up and no other stock name, you're like, I'm ready to slam this Apple. We're opening up. We gapped up a little bit. We're opening up upside the flag. I want any type of dip at open for Apple. Notice how we dipped a little bit. You slam calls there on some weeklies saying, yeah, we should rip. And then you got that massive rip, from 211 all the way to 215, a $4 move on Apple. I think you would at least been like, there you go. That's crazy how you're prepared, you're ready for it, and the opportunity came literally the first 15 minutes, market open. Has that happened to me all the time? All the time. So I'm the king of the open. I'm ready for that. Some of my best trades ever came from slamming on a Monday morning, right at open first 15. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Appreciate all y'all showing up, guys. Shout out to all the X people, all the Twitter people, 100 y'all. Questions, let me know. Type me up something. You can come back and watch, replay this and watch. But this is what I'm trying to help you guys as best as I can. to kind of get y'all in my mind and how I do things. Um, Next week is gonna be big tech earnings. You know how it's gonna go. Big tech. You got a lot of Apple, Meta, all that. So that's gonna move the market a lot. We also have Fed meeting. Is Powell going to cut rates or is he keep it the same? I don't know. That was a weird exchange with with Trump and Powell. That was so funny. Oh, so funny. Let me see. Here we go. Stop sharing my screen. Let's see if I can bring up that clip. I don't know how I'm gonna find it either. It's deep. It's deep. I know I commented on it somewhere. Let's see if I can find it though. There's a lot of them too. Maybe I liked it. I'll be liking. I know I liked it, but there's too many likes going around. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know where it's at. Oh, there it is. All right, all right, all right. All right, let's see. Look at the way they're just like. I'm gonna try and find the rest of. Oh man, let's see. Hold on. I gotta. There we go. This is hilarious. All right, let's watch it. Let's see what he says here, which is hilarious. But
Things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism? Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. Other than that, what can I tell you?
bro hit him so aggressively. Why did he hit him so aggressively? Powell looks like he's hanging on by a thread. I can't even lie. How old is Jay Powell? First of all, we know how old Trump is, and like Trump's making Powell look like he's his grandfather. Like, and they're both old as shit. But the way Trump just aggressively smacked Powell, it was like Powell almost lowered rates right then and there. Like the man almost fell over right there. Look at this.
Are there things the chairman can say to you
Powell doesn't even look like he knows where he's at. First of all, like, is he being held hostage? I don't even think I've seen him blink once. That was crazy. That was so crazy. Let's see.
today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism? Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates.
Powell laughed like he wasn't listening at all, but everyone laughed, so he felt like he had to join in on the laugh. That was pretty funny. But will he lower rates? Doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't know. I don't think he will. I think if he does, the market's gonna like that though. Bullish, bullish. Either way, it's somehow so we are so far rigged in this that it's bullish regardless. Regardless what happens, like tariff stuff, bullish. All of this bullish. Coming to an end, deals, bullish. Deals on the table. Powell uh, doesn't cut rates, bullish. I don't know. It's absolutely crazy. Let's look at this clip real quick. Man, this is straight up comedy. Saturday Night Live is probably making a skit about this right here, right now. Look, oh my god, this had me dead. Oh my god, look at this.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit.
No, no, dude, no. This whole exchange was low key hilarious because what is going on?
Looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1. Yeah, it just came out.
Just came out. Oh, shook. The man was shook when he pulled out the paper right there. Powell was shook right there. Bro hit him with the twice over. Nah, it didn't happen. Nah, never heard of that. That was crazy. Look at this.
It's now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it
Just came out. Breaking news. Now, the fact that he just said that, like, it just came out, is making Powell look stupid that, like, he doesn't know what's going on in his own, like, business. The whole, he's the speaker for it, or, he's the head guy. He should be, the breaking news. And then Trump's like, yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody. Like, Powell's gonna just hear that out on the street from somewhere. Oh, that was the part that just made me. Did you see that? Powell went for his glasses, his readers, right? He was going for the glasses. Oh, hold on. Am I gonna have to read something? He's about to make me read something. He's like, nah, nah, nah. I don't need to take it. No, yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And then this guy, who the fuck is this guy? This guy randomly was like, "Yeah, I agree with that. Yep, 3.1, 3.2, 3 point." Like the bro looked at him like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah. I've read the paper too. Yeah, yeah, 3 point. Yep. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. This came from us. I have to admit, this was hilarious, but I have to assume that paper says nothing. Like, it's just bullshit. Like, he printed that out somewhere because he even said it right there. He's like, whoever does that, I don't. Uh, he pointed to the top corner, and we can kind of see on the paper right there. He points to right there. There's like nothing there. Like, you can see, sure, some lines and then maybe some like yellow that's highlighted out right there. But like, he pointed to the top left of that paper, and I don't know what he meant by that. Literally, like, he pointed to the top, like, not even almost on the paper. So I don't even know. Powell shook. It's a that's building that's being built. No, that was built 5 years ago. Oh man, I don't even at that point I'm confused. I'm confused. Like, what are we doing here? That was just pure gold, pure gold. Trump does make politics pretty funny though, pretty funny. Uh, yeah, I can't believe he slapped him in the back like that. That was absolutely crazy. But gotta admit, he does make politics pretty funny. So I'll give him that at least. I'll give him that. Let's see. So we'll see what kind of happens going into FOMC. I would say best case scenario. I don't know. Best case scenario, nothing happens. Worst case scenario, he raises rates, which is obviously not gonna happen. But I would say best case scenario, maybe cutting rates. I don't know what is the best case scenario because we got to a point where bad news was good news and good news was good news. Then all of a sudden we're at a point where good news is still good news, but we care more about the bad news. And then now I think we're back to everything is just good news. I don't. It's so confusing. So if you're confused, just like me, it's okay because best thing about trading is we don't have to care about any of that stuff to trade price action. So it's all about price action. It's all about understanding what the market's doing, and the market will always kind of front run. Not front run, but I've never, other than like maybe failed breakouts, I've never seen a whole market as a whole, move and not kind of see the follow through behind it, especially in a raging bull market. We'll see. Sleepy Powell. For sure, man. Get that man a nap, dude. Powell, why is he still working? Like, why are you working? I know you gotta be well off. Why are you working? Like, if I was him, like, bro, put me in a recliner and turn on Jeopardy or something. Like, get that man in a recliner. Get him in a lazy boy. The man just wants to chill. Some of these guys, like, why are y'all still doing this? Like, y'all need to step out of the way for some I wouldn't say younger, but obviously anybody, that has experience and is of age, right? But like, I feel like we should definitely have a cap on some of these positions. Like, there's no way you are frosty. You are still kicking and moving the way you should be at 80 years old. Like, be real. I'm 30 years old and I wake up like, dude, what is like? I'm still like, is today Monday? Like, and what I'm saying? I have those days, so I can't imagine being 80. I'm gonna wake up and they'll be like, you missed your alarm. And you're like, fuck, but how much? And they're like, an hour. An hour? Okay, that's not bad. Only an hour late. And they're like, it's you missed it by 3 days and an hour. I'm like, oh, I've been asleep for how long? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Ugh. Being that old just sounds terrifying. I'm gonna be in the old folks' home. I'm gonna be retired somewhere, running amok in a retirement center somewhere, telling anybody and everyone to slam the open. I'm ready to ride. They're gonna be like, "Oh, that's just don't listen to Rico. He's old and seen now." I'll be like, "You don't know you don't know what I'm talking about. I used to slam at open." Blah, blah. They'd be like, "Yeah, sure you did, Grandpa." I'd be like, "Golly." It's today Monday, Sleepy Rico. Saturday, 2025. Yeah, It's today Monday. I think today's Monday. You ever this? I haven't had one of those naps in a while, but those naps where you take and you feel like you missed the bus. Man, when I got out of high school, I would have those reoccurring feelings that like I woke up late and I missed the bus, and I was like, oh shit. And it was weird because I would still have those even in college. I would wake up thinking I missed the bus and be like, wait a second, I graduated like 3 years ago. Yeah, so I don't know if y'all ever had that. Or like when or you're a kid, you go to sleep, wake up like 8 p.m., right? And like the sun just set, or it's dark and you thought it's 8 a.m. and you thought you're late and you're just tripping. Damn, those naps hit heavy. You wake up a little sweaty, right? A little sweaty. One sock missing, things are crazy. Things got crazy in your nap. Yeah, I miss those days. I don't get sleep like that these days. I don't know why. I need some sleep, guys. Y'all don't let me sleep. The market don't let me sleep. Right? It's Saturday, and I'm like, man. I got some decent sleep last night. Hope I get some good sleep tonight. Vacation in a few weeks. I'm chilling, chilling. Let's see. Questions, let me know. I mean, I'm ready. Yeah, some of these TSM is another one I'm going to be watching. Downtrend breakout, knifed into the gap. See, the weird thing was on that Tuesday, and I played Nvidia puts. Nvidia was the weakest, and Nvidia took out the gap. TSM never took out the gap, and AMD never took out the gap. So you can see TSM still has this gap open. It nicked it a little bit. I guess not a lot of it, but from 233 all the way down to like 231. So a $2 nick out of it, but still got a good $2 left on it. $3. It nicked it on that knife and then reversed all the way back up. This is what I'm talking about on sometimes gaps. You'll see them hit the gap, reverse, and they'll go. I've seen it's crazy on these individual names. They'll just go high of week, break weekly highs after that, as we saw AMD did that, Nvidia did that, TSM did that. Diabolical. Well, I think the craziest one I've ever saw was Visa. Was it Visa? It was Visa. I was trying to hit a daily gap on it, and I remember that day I saw it. We got to the daily gap, and I was like, "Should I take puts here?" And I was like, Nah." Knowing individual names, like it's gonna hit the gap, reverse, and then tomorrow I'll be able to get a better entry. I'll wait. Visa literally went after that. That was the low of the month. It literally ran to all-time highs. Like $100. It ran $100 like late, like a month into it. I was just like, holy shit! I would have bought low of month. That's how crazy that would have been. Absolutely insane. But TSM, I'm watching this too. It's flagging, getting right back to all-time highs from when it ripped up after earnings. Let's go look at Nvidia. Oops, we can look at that. Knifed, and not only that, but it ate almost all of it. Almost all of it. Our target was at 164 demand. We sold puts all the way at the bottom there. I said don't hold on. We were already up pretty well on it because we started shorting under like the game plan was under 169.50. And this was on Tuesday. I wasn't prepared to short. but SPY and Q weren't doing too much. It was positioning day. I saw weakness in Nvidia. I was already eyeing this. This was my attention right at open, so I was watching this. Sellers really start kicking in, kicking in, kicking in. I waited till we actually lost the demand here. Once we lost that, I took it knowing that we should easily come down. And we did. So from 167 all the way down to 164, I'll take that $3 move down. We banked on calls. They went 100%. That's awesome. Sure, I could have got 200% if I ended up shorting at the 169.50, which was my original game plan that I posted to the members. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure because if we did AMD, if we did TSM, we would have got bounced out of there, or we would have made some money, but you would have been quick. Again, hit that gap, ran to all-time highs, or made new intraday all-time highs Friday, but again, all-time highs. Disgusting work. Usually we don't see that with SPY Q. They'll usually eat the gap and then do their thing. But again, we caught the massive move out. We're in calls, and then overnight we got that news, sold those calls for a banger win. I was already keeping an eye on this gap, and then we caught it the next Tuesday. The funny thing is, this was Tuesday going into Wednesday. This was Tuesday going into Wednesday, but again, ate the gap, created the gap all on Tuesday. So pretty funny work on Nvidia, TSM, and AMD. I was watching those two. They are still doing the same kind of trends, so that's why I was like, let me kind of keep an eye on them because it's very possible that you know they uh, they give a better read on what's really happening. Nvidia was just a little bit more weaker that Tuesday. And we can see that Q did knife into that demand, and I told the team we have a lot of weekly support down here. You don't want to be shorting. You don't want to be shorting this. You don't want to be shorting, And so I was like, just you can either buy the dip or stay back with SPYs. We bought the dip, ripped. We just kept banking on SPY dips, any dips, and I'm trying to tell them, man. Friday we slammed calls we slammed calls into here, and those calls right here, knowing that not much was happening on Friday, that we are gonna bank on Tuesday or Monday. Monday got the gap up at open. We got that rip up on SPY. We slammed Qs and SPY to start our Monday, and solid win for us on that first hour candle. That was the move we were looking for, and the new all-time highs. We got it. Boom. Did less, sit back. I knew that Monday, Tuesday were likely going to be like this in anticipation of the earnings. We got the knife down again on that Tuesday. We scooped it up, knowing that any red days like this, like this, like this, even though that's more of a consolidation day, what has been following is ripping, ripping. So any red day lately has been a gift, and I try and tell that to the team, and I'm telling you guys that right now. Any red day lately has been a gift, and you guys need to treat it like such. Instead of looking at it like I'm ready to slam puts and short and all that, we are not in that type of market. You need to be looking at that as the hookup that tomorrow you are going to bank massively. So that stop stepping over dollars for pennies. Naps send you into a different universe in a regular way. Sleep can't. Vegas in a few weeks. Maybe Vegas in a few weeks. I'm trying to end summer on a beach, so that's what I'm gonna do for vacation, and then maybe a Vegas. Definitely the Vegas trip. I gotta grind in Vegas. We gotta go run it up. Gotta go run it up. Yeah. So I can't. Should we watch some clips? I think that's hilarious. Watching some trader clips or some funny clips. I'm done with the charting and stuff. I'll save the rest of it for the night show tomorrow night. Maybe we watch some clips right now. Let's see if we can do a little bit of that. We can learn. We can learn a little bit from some traders. We'll look at whose video should we watch? Tell me right now. I think the only person that I really like the content, I would say, is Mazzy Trades, but she trades like SpyX and stuff, and I just can't seem to understand. Like, I don't even understand it. So let's dissect that, right? Let's dissect some Mazzy Trades, and then dissect a few other things. Let's see. Should we watch a video or some shorts? Maybe a video so we don't have to look around. I don't know. It looks like she's only been posting shorts. There's no way the last video she puts was a year ago, 2 months. We can go over this one. 13 minutes. Doesn't look too crazy. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's go over it. Hopefully we can learn something, right? Let's learn something. All right. Share. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. I don't know what this
Down
is.
with you guys. I took this trade today during FOMC, and I'm going to go through
FLMC
what I saw
trade.
in the volatility
Let's
of the
get it.
market, and then how I was able to utilize that to my advantage, as well as what I looked for on Bookmap through order flow and futures that allowed me to take this trade. I'll go through the entire breakdown with you guys, entries, exits, and yeah, exactly what I could have done better and what I did exactly correct and followed my trading plan. All right, so first things first, I did trade this live in the Discord. We were on voice. Now, during days where we have an FOMC announcement, I don't trade the day before FOMC, and I don't trade until the announcement actually comes out. So I wasn't trading in the morning. I waited until...
That's an interesting. She don't trade the day before, which what is the day before? The day before is a lead up to it, positioning day, or make your money early in the morning or do less. Usually, not really much happens. Sure. Then she says she doesn't trade anything until the actual announcement, which is kind of wild, but okay.
Afternoon at 2 p.m. when the announcement was released, and then obviously when Powell comes on and speaks as well. Before that, I don't like to trade because usually the market's very volatile and choppy, and you always want to wait until the data and news comes out
Volatile
prior
and
to
choppy?
taking an entry. So that's what I was waiting for. I waited until the data came out, and then I ended up taking this trade on SPX, traded it live on voice, and I was trading SPX puts. So we'll go through exactly how I scaled.
Oh, hold on a second. 11 a.m., 10 a.m. That's not when FOMC is. I mean, unless she's like West Coast time, then maybe. I don't know if she is West Coast, but it's pretty early. We'll give it a benefit of the doubt, West Coast time.
How I entered, and then what my profit targets were and how I scaled out. So my trading plan was SPX puts below 5,600. So if you look at SPX here, SPX had 5,600 was SPX's low of day. So you can see that we ended up kind of making a choppy move up.
The crazy thing is she's trading SPX on the 5 minute. The 5 minute. That's why I'm just like, there's no way. There's just no way.
Indeed, news from Trump that came out around this time, and the market dropped, and then it created a base of support at 5,600, which was the low of day. So that was the safest entry on SPX to take. Now, if we go ahead and look at futures at the same time, but right before the announcement was at 11 a.m. Eastern time, so 2 p.m. Pacific, or 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. So right around here, NASDAQ had a downwards trend line that it was holding. So one touch, this is a swing high, 1-2 touch trend line, even right here, rejected the trend line before breaking it. So NASDAQ was in a downtrend off of the trend line rejection, and then ES here had created a base of support and low of day at 5620. So I wanted to see ES clear 5620, and then NASDAQ to clear this 19,800 level, which was its low of day and base of support. My targets on the downside below 5600 on SPX were 5580 and then 5569, where it had a gap. It had a gap from 5580 into 5569, which ended up being my second profit target that I didn't end up getting to, but no worries, I'll show you guys exactly how I scaled out. So one thing I do want to show you before I go into my entries and exits is exactly what I was looking for and looking at on Bookmap. Bookmap has been a really key factor of my trading plan, especially with my entries, exits, and profit targets, which is basically my entire trading plan. Especially when I'm focused on SPX, SPY, and then I pay attention to futures as well. Really, with any ticker that you're trading, you want to pay attention to futures. So specifically ES futures, when you're trading SPY and SPX, we can see that ES before the data came out, so this was when the liquidity kind of went away right before the data was coming out at 2 p.m. We can see that it was kind of trading in a range here, lots of sellers sitting, lots of buyers sitting, but a main level you can see here is 56.20 here. So that 56.20 is the low of day, like I mentioned, for ES from today, that I was waiting for it to break to take SPX puts, and you can see that there are significant buyers sitting. So you see a wall at 56.20. So what does that tell us? If we are looking to take a trade on SPY or SPX, pretty much anything in the market, especially SPY and SPX,
take it around there.
You want to make sure that ES is able to clear this 56.20 wall of buyers before you end up entering puts. So it should fill the orders here at 56.20. Sellers should still be aggressive as it fills those orders before you take entry. The data came out at 2 p.m. This is the 2 p.m. candle here. You can see there's a little bit of indecision on the NASDAQ here on this 2 p.m. candle, was holding this 19,800 level, and same thing with ES. If we go ahead and look, ES was also...
I feel like she's making this so difficult. Like, what are we doing? Why are we watching like futures on, either have your levels or don't? Like, it's so, I would be devastated if I would have to flip through a million screens just to take one trade that you possibly win or don't even win on the 5 minute. Like, come on.
56.20, but ES was trending under its VWAP, as was the NASDAQ, and ES on this 5 minute candle rejected VWAP, which is a good sign.
Slam.
So as ES rejected VWAP here, you can see on the next candle, we ended up breaking 56.20, and the NASDAQ also cleared my level of 19,800. So perfect. Both futures are in sync with one another, and both futures have broken their levels of support. Now, if we go ahead and look at SPX.
Slam.
I entered SPX puts at 11:06. So this candle here, once it cleared 5,600, let me just extend this so you guys can see. So if we go ahead and look at SPX cleared 5,600 at 11:06. This was the 11 o'clock candles to it. So on futures, this was the 11 o'clock to 11:05 candle, and this was the 11:06 candle on SPX that broke 5,600. This was my entry point on SPX. I entered once it broke 5,600, with my first target being 55.80. Now, when I have multiple profit targets, I always scale out 80% at my first profit target and then 10 and 10, depending on how many profit targets I had. So I ended up entering SPX puts 5,600 strike at 11:06 as it broke 5,600. And my first target, like I said, was 55.80, which I would take 80% off. I scaled out 80% at 11:08. 2 minutes later, it pushed into that 55.80 level towards the end of this candle.
This is what I really don't understand. She's playing like midday here on the 5 minute. Are you buying? It's crazy because she said she made $18,000 in one day on playing on the 5 minute. For you to get 80%, right? For you to get 80%, you would have to have, say you went in with $18,000, right? Because 100% would have been $18,000. So she would have to have gone in with like $20,000 to get 80% at $18,000. So you're telling me you're going in 20K on some midday SPY-X contracts on the 5 minute just for a drop from 56 all the way down to 55.80, so like a 20-point drop. Can you get 80% off a 20-point drop off of a certain, like, you had to have dropped again 20K, but the relatively, like, you had to have had enough contracts at 20K to make that 18. Like, see, if I'm trying to do the math and somehow it doesn't, like, to me it seems weird. Like, how are you pulling $18,000? Did you go right at the money? Did you dump more than 20K? How did you get 80% and make 18,000 off a 20-point move? And then at that point, it's just like, why wouldn't you have slammed calls at the support when it held right there? Because you could see it just ended up popping all the way back up and higher than your move. like so confusing, but
here, and then we can see that it created a base of support. Now my stop on what I had left on SPX, which was 20%, was 55.95. You can see that it went back and retested, and then around this time is when Powell started speaking. So Powell started speaking at 2:30. He was actually coming on. Before that was just the announcement. So once Powell started speaking, you can see that the market ended up pulling back and reversing. And so I ended up exiting my SPX runners at 11:27. Once this candle broke and held above 55.95, which is what I usually wait for when I'm looking for my stop loss to hit. So I ended up exiting my runners at 55.95. Now I do want to say that I did lock in $18,000 on this trade, and the runners did end up being red. However, because I locked
they had
80%
to
of
be
my
super
position,
red.
even though my runners ended up being red, I still was really profitable on this trade. Now, that's why it's
She
so
made
important to make sure
25.
that you are scaling out properly. I always recommend if you have less than 7 contracts trading SPY or SPX, especially 0 DTE, you should not be scaling out. If you have over 7 contracts or more, at that point you're able to scale out 80% of your position or 90% of your position and not have your runners take up so much of your profit. So I always recommend at least trading
Oh,
7 contracts or more to be able to scale out. At the peak of the premium, I entered the premium at around
that was
$24.
that's a.
It went up to around
I was like, this dude was trading NQ. I thought that was her. Her says daily 18. I don't know, dude. Like the P and L, like I don't know. Like notice how everyone else is showing their like this guy down here, iconic. He made $270. That sounds about right. Like that, like if he went in probably with a few contracts, he made 270. That sounds about right. How much did she go in? And she's showing like a a rant. Like it's I don't recognize like that screenshot. I don't know where is that from Thinkorswim. I don't use that boomer platform. But again, how is she making 18? And there's no sense behind it either. That's really a little sus. But
$33 at the premium peak, and then my runners ended up being at a loss of around $21, so a $2 loss to the downside. At the peak of the premium, I was up around $24,000, but I was willing to risk some of that position to be able to see if the stock would continue to. Can you please just hear me out? No. Workman.
God, hit me with an ad right now, please. All right, we're back.
If the market will continue to sell down, which it didn't end up selling down. I can't show you guys my trader sync right now because it's the same day. It won't post until tomorrow, but if it does post, I will go ahead and show you guys. But this is what I ended up locking in.
What did she just say? Hold on, run that shit back, Turbo.
End up selling down. I can't show you guys my trader sync right now because it's the same day.
I can't show you my trader sync because it's the same day.
It won't post until tomorrow.
It won't post until tomorrow.
This post, I will go ahead and show you guys. But this is what
I don't know if she probably ever did.
locking in. So I was comfortable holding those runners even if they went to negative because I was still going to have a decent amount of my profit locked in at that point. So you have to make sure that when you are scaling out properly and you are scaling out with the correct number of contracts. If you're only trading 3 contracts, it's not really ideal for you to scale out 2 contracts. You're still holding 33% of your position, which is a big chunk of your position. And trading 0 DTE, if it does end up reversing or pulling back, it could take up a lot, if not all of your profit on the day. So it's definitely really important to understand how to scale out properly. And I will tell you guys, on ES futures, my target to the downside below 56.20 was 5600. So if we go, and the target on the NASDAQ below 19,800 was 19,700. And if we look at the NASDAQ, you can see that neither of these candles held below 19,700. And if you look at the ES, you can see that neither of these candles held below 5600. How did I determine?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is exhausting. Like even for me, like this is exhausting. It like makes, bro. You could have literally just threw like calls or puts at any point, and if you would have made money, you could have made a less explanation of how you made money than everything she's trying to go into. Because say all that went wrong for her, then your analysis just made no sense, and all that was a waste of time and energy, right? Say she entered the puts and just got reversed on, and then at that point are you gonna go into depth how the book map and all that did, like so I don't know. It's a lot of talking, a lot of talking. uh I don't know. Um I would say simplify things, guys. Make things simple. Simple. That's what I like to do. That's why I like the zones. The zones are exactly how she's kind of using Bookmap, right? They're telling me where the buyers are sitting and where the sellers are sitting, and I don't need to use a third party, third party, something she's paying for to see those buyers or sellers. You can see that shit on the tape. Like if you watch the tape, you can see that shit on the price ladder. You can see that shit. The chart itself is what the price ladder is. The chart is just a visual representation of the price ladder. So the chart is going to tell me where those buyers or sellers are sitting, and I just figured that out. And so I made it easier with just having the zones. That's why I'm just like, you don't got to do all that extra stuff. You can just tell you what price action, or like do trust what price action is telling you, because that's what the market is doing. It's what price action is telling you. So yeah, I don't know. Keep it simple. I guess everyone has their own strategy, of course. Whatever works best for them. I say keep it simple. Don't do nothing too crazy or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, I'm tired. Let's wrap this up, guys. I'm ready to go relax. Do less. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to show, like I said, I wanted to show y'all how, QQ, I caught QQ SPY, didn't look at need a book map, didn't need to do any of that. Just had to look at what price action was telling me and the signs around the market, and bada boom, bada bing. So easy work. Shout out to me, not book map. Yeah, a couple names I'm looking at. Well, I'll go over more and I'll chart a little bit more tomorrow on the night show so we can get ready for a fresh week to bank. So we had some really good bangers this week. A lot of SPY. Nvidia on Tuesday. That knife all the way down, ate most of the gap. It hit that demand down there, and then reversed all the way to highs, new all time highs. Hilarious. But yeah, I remember as we were pulling down there, I was like, guys, sell into this, sell into this. I like what she was saying though, like trimming into the move. That's for sure my thing. Like I'm for sure trimming into the move systematically, regardless, right? I'm taking the 20, 30, 40, 50%. And then leaving the runners stops bye bye kind of thing, letting it go. I like that. That's a good way of trading, and it's never hurt me in any way. Sure, sometimes I'm like, damn, I should have just held my full position and sold all of it at the end. But for the days where it doesn't do that, and I got most of my position out at 40%, and it kind of reversed and never came back, I'm happy. So I'll take those 30, 40% wins all day. And then when I know the bangers are happening, I can sit back and be like, let me hold this a little bit longer because I know this is going, you know. And even with SPY, that SPY position, I knew this was going to run to 636, and I still sold right up here, right as we hit 637. I knew it'd blast a little bit higher towards the 638. But those contracts, I slammed them for 117. I was all out at them at like 150, 160. They ran to like 180. So that's why I was like, I knew better, but it's all good. All good. Anyways, appreciate it. Y'all showing up. 150 y'all on X. A couple people here. Twitch. Appreciate y'all showing up. Awesome. Cool. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my night, and then be ready for tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of y'all's night. Make sure y'all hydrate, get some rest. Let's be ready to make some money next week. It's a big week. Big tech earnings. FOMC. I don't think that's gonna do anything, but big tech earnings. And did I mention big tech earnings? That's what's going to be moving the market this week. That's what we're looking for. And the fact that we're running in new all-time highs into big tech earnings, man, they must know something's up. Something's going to push us heavy, and I'm ready for it. So let's see if we get that bigger breakout. Could be the run up in Nvidia, AMD. I don't know. I'm ready for it regardless. Anyways, I appreciate y'all showing up, watching this, and if you're sticking to the whole thing here and you're watching to the end, you're a real one. I appreciate you as always. Have a good rest of y'all's night, and I'll see you guys later.